Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Minnesota Sports Talk, presenting Under the Lights with your hosts, Justin and Dave, next in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Under the Lights with Justin and Dave. What's up, Justin? How was your 4th?
It's good, man. How was yours? I had a quick turnaround because I didn't get any additional time off work. Wanted to save up the vacation for later on this year. But it was fun. You know, got some grilling done, had some leftovers for about a week, and I'm going to be sad tomorrow or Thursday when all my leftover barbecue is gone. I'll be sad. I'll say it like that. So there you go. How about you?
Oh, I did some work. Went out and drove the not so rich and famous around. And who'd I got what San Francisco's old quarterback?
Which one? Joe Montana, Steve Young,
Latest.
Steve DeBerg, Colin Kaepernick,
Oh my God.
Alex Smith, Brock Purdy.
The latest quarterback, man. I said the latest quarterback, and you're talking to me. Well, before anyway.
Trey Lance.
No.
What are you talking about? I'm totally confused. What are you talking about?
Anyways.
Off to a flying start.
Yeah, off to a great start. Let's get some shout outs here.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Greg? Happy belated birthday. Happy belated birthday to Greg, by the way. Happy birthday, my friend. There you go.
All right. Dan Hanneman, what's up? Davey Chains. Dr. Proto.
What's going on?
My worthless opinion. What's up, man? Dr. Proto. I already said that. Raymond again. School Mafia. What's up, man? All right. The McAndrews. How's it going? Roger Skull, brother. Justin. What's up?
Love the name.
Justin? Yeah, it's a good name.
Yeah.
All right.
What's up, Mateo?
Mateo, what's going on? Where are we going? Why Tittle? All right. Jimmy Garoppolo. That's who I was thinking.
Oh, all right. Yeah,
I don't know why his name
What's up, Barber? What's up, Barber? What's up, Skull for Life?
I drove Jimmy Garoppolo's freshman year roommate to the airport.
Oh, okay. So that's
I asked
where
him.
all that circle was going. Okay.
It was really good to talk to a guy, you know, because he played high school in Miami and he was going to Chicago. And I go, why are you going to Chicago? I said, well, I played football. And I'm just going back to, you know, in Illinois. And he played for Eastern Illinois, apparently, and that's where Garoppolo, I think, played, I guess. So okay. They freshman year roommate. He redshirted though, and Garoppolo asked did he get all the girls, and he says he got all the girls.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, let's just not even pretend like we don't know. I mean, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool to talk to him. I got to ask him like who, you know, players he played against in in high school in Miami and stuff. And, you know, he's talking about one guy that, you know, never made it to the NFL, but he was the best player he ever saw just because of grades and didn't go to college.
Right.
Or had to go to JUCO and then whatever.
You are correct. It was Eastern Illinois, by the way. So there you go.
He did give me a tip. It wasn't much, but it was a tip. And that's rare because you don't get many tips, Uber, and people are cheapskates. Especially delivering food for Uber is terrible. So I don't do that.
What's up, Norpheus? How you doing? Good to see you. Norpheus is back. It was missing for a couple of weeks, but good to see you yesterday on First and Scold as well as here. So thanks everybody for joining us. Hit them like buttons on the way in. If you didn't already, hit them on the way out. If you don't already subscribe to both Purple and Gold for Days and Minnesota Sports Talk, hit them sub buttons. We are just weeks away from training camp, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going to be fun, and we're going to turn it up, but we're going to get this out the way. If anybody was expecting Dave and I to argue about Kirk Cousins tonight, it's not going to happen because we are on the same side. This ridiculous ESPN panel that only were given the options of Jordan Love, Justin Fields, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins. Which one quarterback are you taking? If you're expecting me and Dave to debate it, it's not going to happen because even I, you know, despite how much fun Dave and I can have, I don't hate Kirk, but it's not even a question. You are not going to tell me that you would take Justin Fields, who has proven nothing. And I like Justin Fields. I do. I think that he hasn't had much infrastructure around him, and he hasn't been asked to do much. And yes, he's been overhyped by people saying, "Oh, Justin Fields is going to be ruling the North for the next 10 years." We got to slow the roll on that. I think he's a little bit underrated, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. But you're not telling me that you're going to take Justin Fields over Kirk Cousins right now for one game. Oh my God.
There was a stat that was put out there that in the past 10 years, minimum, I don't know, something like 5 starts, the fewest yards per game in the NFL the last 10 years. It was Justin Fields, number 1 and number 2.
Stop.
And
Stop it.
Josh Rosen was 3rd.
What's that button rap says? Stop the cap. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Listen, I like that Courtney Cronin at least said, well, yeah, if I'm going on potential, but we're not going on potential. We're going on right now. Now, I can listen to the argument that Justin Fields, he's not the statue that Goff and Cousins is, and that he brings a more dynamics to you. I can listen to that. But again, we're talking about potential. And the question wasn't who's got the biggest potential. The question was, if you had to win a game right now, that means you take the best player of the group right now for one game, and that's Kirk Cousins, period.
The way I looked at it, because the top 2 guys are Goff and Cousins, and the way I looked at it, and the way and I know I'm only allowed to talk about Kirk unless I say 3 bad things before I talk something good about Kirk.
There you go.
But I'm not going to. I'm going to go straight into it and say, if Kirk would not go 1-7 on that team on Detroit, I just don't feel like they would go 1-7. I just don't see it happening. They went 1-7 with Jared Goff. Kirk Cousins won 7 games in a row, I think, last year. So he didn't lose 7 games. I don't know how many games they lost in a row, but they went 1-7. They turned it around, great. But I just don't see a Kirk Cousins on that roster, who they say has a better roster than us, would not make the playoffs. Detroit has a better roster than us, they tell us. And they didn't make the playoffs with Jared Goff. That right there just should make my decision for me. But I mean, I said Jared Goff had a comparable season to Kirk Cousins. It was right there in the Kirk Cousins level when I was ranking quarterbacks. But it just proofs in the pudding. And then they'll say, "Oh, he made the Super Bowl." Well, there was this post the other day about how no one wanted to go to the Vikings because they haven't won a Super Bowl, and the guy commented, "Oh, I'm going to go to the Cowboys because they won a Super Bowl 35 years ago."
Yeah. I mean,
that's the way I look at it. That was 5 years ago or whatever, how many years ago it was. And I think the GG boys broke down that he didn't have a really good, playoff. And then they scored 3 points in the Super Bowl or something like that.
Yeah, so I think the score was 13-3. Yeah. I mean, listen, you and I have discussed it. I think I'm not going to say that Goff is better than Cousins. I'm going to say that Goff sometimes is a touch underrated because everybody wants to credit that Super Bowl run in 2018 to Sean McVay. Okay, so Jared Goff was a tricked up pony. I'll give you that. He probably was. But that's part of what we said about Cousins is let's get him away from old antiquated Mike Zimmer and let's get him with an offensive minded head coach that has joined the 21st century. So yeah, once Jared Goff wasn't on his rookie contract anymore and he was making his market value, he's shown who he was, which was a good, not great quarterback. So I feel the same way. I don't hate Goff, but I don't love him either. I think he's got the same ceiling that Kirk does, the same ceiling that guys like Dak or Carr do, which is, yeah, you could do worse than them. But again, to the question on the table, of the 4 starting quarterbacks in the NFC North, you're not going to choose anybody but the guy that led his team, for better for worse, to 11 one-score victories, to 8 come-from-behind victories, and say that, well, I think that Goff in the second year in this system with Detroit, that applies to Kirk too, okay? Justin Fields, again, we talked about it, potential this, potential that. I don't care. I'm talking about right now, and I'm sorry, it's Kirk Cousins.
And I think the question is what put them, your team, whatever team you have, which quarterback would you want to play one game? And not necessarily, am I taking the Bears or am I taking the Lions or am I taking, because no one's going to take the Bears.
Of course not.
Well, and honestly, no, who's going to take the Packers right now? But I
mean, the Packers defense.
Well,
is still going to be
that's
okay,
quarterback. That's a quarterback situation. They have a better roster than the Bears, but yeah.
But I would.
Yeah, I think everybody came out of the wood. I think everybody came out of the woodwork to just say how stupid that take was. Viking fans just across the board. I didn't really see anybody going, yeah, that was a great take. In fact, let me look at my poll on Twitter.
Your unbiased poll.
Well, I mean, who would you take with? Well, it's on Vikings. Yeah, Vikings. They're all and mostly Viking fans, right?
This time you'll agree with me that it's an unbiased poll, the joke. But while you're looking up your poll, I'll say it like this: I wouldn't change the answer to the question either way. I don't care whose roster you have. If you have Kansas City's roster, if you have Cincinnati's roster, Buffalo's roster, San Francisco's roster, Philadelphia roster, my answer is still the same. I'm taking Kirk Cousins over the other three, no matter what roster we're talking about.
Some assholes took Jordan Love. 1% Jordan Love, 1% Justin Fields, 4% Jared Goff, 94% Kirk Cousins. And I do have people that follow other teams, but not many.
Yeah.
The poll is in the correct order. Oh, so I had it Cousins, Goff, Fields, Love.
Yeah.
So he said, that's and I guess that's. I unintentionally put it in probably the right order.
You didn't slant the votes at it. No, I'm just kidding.
Kirk is only real answer here. Who's smoking the shit? Pick Fields. Who's pick Fields? Oh, who's smoking that shit to pick Fields?
Yes.
And other answers besides Goff is a joke. Any other answer besides Goff? This guy's a Vikings fan. Yeah. And he's got Kirk Cousins. He's got Kirk Cousins with laser eyes.
It's not an indefensible position to say that Goff is a close second.
Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's what I was saying. What's my tie? If there was a tie, what would be my tiebreaker? And I'm like 9 wins, 13 wins, 1 in 7
in fairness to your point about Goff last season,
supposedly he has a better roster, a better offensive line, all that.
In defense of Goff last season, let's look at what happened. They started off 1 and 7, and then they what? What they finished 9 and 8?
Yeah.
So they went 8 and 1 at the end. That's not all that. That's not all that different than the 2020 COVID season when the Vikings started off 1 and 5 and then finished 6 and 4 to finish 7 and 9, I believe, if I did my math right. Now, again, we can talk about the coaching staffs changing, 2020 versus the Lions last year versus the Vikings now as well, and all that well and good. But to me, it was a ridiculous point. And again, not a single one of them said Kirk. If one of them said Fields for potential and another one said Goff because of, he and Kirk are close, and one of them said Kirk, okay, fine. The fact that all four of them, not bringing up Jordan Love, fine. Don't bring up Jordan Love because he's a complete unknown. But Justin Fields is not much more of an unknown than Jordan Love. So whatever, it's fine. I agree.
For life saying you're 100, or is he saying Justin Fields is 100?
I think he was saying 100 to me.
I think he's saying it to you.
Yeah, he was.
If it's Monday night or Sunday night, it might be golf.
All right, well, there's that. But again, the constraints of the question was one quarterback in this division for one game, and at the end of it, it's no discussion. There was a point earlier about Kirk's going to have a chip on his shoulder. You know what? I'm actually really looking forward to this documentary coming out on Netflix tomorrow, and I really hope that it shows another side because, Kirk is a little guarded and Kirk is a little private, and that's all well and good. He's allowed to be. I'm not. So what's up, Mike Sports Vibe? How you doing? Good to see
speaking
you.
of Mike Sports Vibe, he's going to be on our show tomorrow.
That's right. He's going to be on with you and GG and the boys. So tap into that, ladies and gentlemen. And if you haven't already tapped in on Yogi's page or on Vikings First and Goal, Mike's been appearing on the Saturday night show there as well. He wants to trade Justin Jefferson for 3 first-round picks. I'm just kidding, Mike. I ain't going to throw you under the bus that.
So open up another tab, go to Mike Sports Vibes, and give him a follow.
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to have him on our show tomorrow, but give him the love tonight. He's going to be on with Gigi and the boys, or me with the Skull Experience.
You'll get the full experience tomorrow.
It's been a whole week. I can't remember the names of my shows.
There you go.
But yeah, Mike Sports Vibes. He's enthusiastic about the Vikings. That's what I can tell you.
He's a Vikings fan living in Philly, ladies and gentlemen. So we got to support our boy.
He does apparently content on the Sixers.
Too, yes, he does.
If you like the Sixers, and we had a Philly guy who does the Eagles and Sixers on the other day, and that was enjoyable. But hey, this guy's an actual Vikings fan of Philly.
There you go.
So that's pretty awesome.
Good
one, NWO.
Yeah, what's up, Grandizer? Good to see you.
Oh, here we go. The straw that stirs the drink. Skull Vikings. Let's win the game. Sock 'em. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. We know that
Let's
one.
go. All right.
By the way, can we get another non-story out of the way? What's up, Skull Mafia?
Let me guess the story.
Yeah.
That Justin Jefferson picked his top five quarterbacks and didn't name Kirk Cousins, but no one seemed to hear the word Kurt Cobain, Josh Allen, and Kurt Cobain at number 5. Like, he literally said, who do you think he was talking about when he said Kurt Cobain?
Either way, even if, let's just, for the sake of conversation, say that he is saying that Kirk is at 6. Okay, fine. This notion that, well, Justin Jefferson didn't put Kirk in his top 5. Yeah. How about that? Justin Jefferson's not going to insult our intelligence and look like a stooging for his guy. And that's okay. And guess what? If Justin had put Kirk in his top 5, you know what everybody be saying right now? Oh my gosh, Justin, why are you being that way? You know he's not top 5. You're just saying that because it's his guy. There shouldn't even be a thing about it. It has nothing to do with anything. Again, it's another story blown out of proportion. And like I said, I'm circling back. I'm really looking forward to watching this documentary on Netflix with these guys.
Justin's 2-0 being a Kirk stan.
Yeah. Okay.
Clipping it. What's up, man?
Hey, appreciate you, Grandizer. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, appreciate it. Do what Grandizer does. Go hit like on both of our shows. I appreciate it. Open up another tab. Run them both.
If you're on a laptop, run them on both. There you go.
Oh, we got over 20 views tonight.
There you go.
Let's go. No, nobody put Kirk in the top 5 in the NFL.
Yes,
I didn't. I put him at 6.
Yeah, there you go.
Put him at 8. I put him at 8 last year. Put him at 6 this year.
I think that's a touch high, but I'm more pessimistic than you are.
Well, when I was doing it with GG guys, I said, and it was after number 4, I go, name me one guy in the NFL, one guy on the rest of this list that had a better season than Kirk Cousins last year. And we both, and I agreed to say Herbert. I'll take him just because of sheer physical ability, but
age.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying when I do a list of like who's right now the best, and they put Lawrence above him and stuff like that, and I'm like whatever. But I'm thinking it's hard to say when you go after, let's say, top 5. Name me another quarterback that had a better season than him. So I'm going to put him at number 6, but for the sake of this argument, we ended up putting him at like 8. I think
you had him at 8 or 9. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we had him at 8. We could have been 9, but yeah, I mean, like whatever. It's a thing to do today. But yeah.
What's up, $2K? Good to see you. Thanks for kindly for joining us.
No problem. No problem, Mike.
Absolutely. Well, I guess I'll
have a top 15 defense.
That would be sweet.
I'll take it.
I'll definitely take it. I think that you are putting, not you, Doler, but the collective, we would be putting a lot of pressure on Flores to take the 31st defense all the way up to 15. That's a stretch goal. I would love to see it. Particularly, you got to tell me what happens with this Danielle Hunter situation. I've already gone on record as saying that I think that his days in Minnesota are over, not because that's what I want. I would love to see Danielle Hunter on this team for another 2-3 years. I'd love to see him play with Flores, who's not going to drop him in zone coverage every other down like Donachelle did. But I'm just going off of, what I've read, what we've all read, and what I sense. I sense that the Vikings want to keep their options open. You've seen Kwesi stick to the 25 to 26-year-olds, and Danielle Hunter's going to be 29. So, he's balancing what performance can I get out of this guy, how much money he's asking for. I mean, if he's asking for top 5 money, that's tough. Now, I get it. As a player, get your money, get as much as you can. I'm not saying that he's asking for too much. I'm just saying that when I put it all together, I don't think he's back. I honestly think that once the training camp starts and teams are going to now be forced to actually do stuff, right now there's no offers coming in for Danielle Hunter because there's no desperation right now. And the Vikings shouldn't be just giving him away for a 4th-round pick either. I'm not saying it like that. My official prediction at this point in time is right now, with everything I see, I don't think he's back. I hope he is. But to circle back to the question, top 15, woo. You get top 15 defense, that would be a miracle worker. I mean, when Mike Zimmer came in, we were last or second to last, and I think he got us up to what, 19 or 20 in 2014,
in his first year.
season. Yeah,
I want to say we were 17th.
17. Okay, but that was a lot, and I'll just say right now, we got a lot of unknowns on our defense right now. We don't know. We've got a whole lot of mediocrity on the defensive line. Yes, we like Asamoah, and we think he's going to step into, being our number one linebacker. We still got Harrison Smith. We like him. We love him. Byron Murphy, yes. But the rest of the secondary is a lot of question marks due to the injury concerns with Seam and Booth. And
well, I also think a lot of potential.
Yes,
right?
Lots of potential.
Super,
absolutely.
like second-year jumps and stuff like that. Let me weigh in on so Skull for Life says top 20 defense all over last year any day. I will too. Honestly, my hot take was Vikings would have a top 10 scoring defense, but I'm not saying top 10 ranked defense because that's yardage. And I said that could be 15, could be 22. I'm just saying we are going to allow less points. And I said because I felt like we were going to be one of the top turnover teams, because I think he could take out that Miami team, make them a top 3 turnover team in the league, top 6 scoring team when he was calling plays. I think he could do that here. And the reason being is because we may not be like experienced, but we're fast. I think our entire secondary is fast, probably except for Harrison Smith. Our linebacker, starting linebacker is fast. We got a lot of fast guys, and I feel like we're going to be okay there. And I just think the attacking style defense is just going to lead to more turnover, strip sacks, fumble recoveries, batted balls in the air and picks. I just feel like we're going to get a lot of that, and I think both could be true. We could have outside the top 20. Our top 20 defense, but be top 10 in scoring.
Sure.
And I think we did that in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Or
I'd have to.
It was one of those 18 or 19 we did that. I want to say it was 19, but.
Well, here's what I will say to your point. When I look at this defense and what I anticipate it's going to be, regardless of where it finishes in the rankings, last year's defense was slow, death by 10,000 paper cuts. Yes, there were games where we put the clamps down on teams. There were games where we got some key turnovers, but it wasn't really sustainable. Most of the time against good teams like the Dallas, like Philly, the game in Green Bay, and even the game in Detroit, the defense couldn't get a stop to save their life when it really mattered in those losses. Now, I think that Flores is going to be far more aggressive, and I think that this defense is going to have times where they get off the field on third down on a consistent basis, and there's going to be times where they get burned for a 65-yard touchdown because they were over-aggressive. And I will take that kind of defense as opposed to a defense that just slowly gets killed up and down the field, 7 yards here, 12 yards
paper
here.
Cuts.
Yes, death by 10,000 paper cuts is far worse. I'm going to take you guys back to, I'm trying to remember, I think it was 2021. It was a home game against the Green Bay Packers where ultimately we won on a last-second field goal. That Vikings team, that was the Kirk got blitzed and he just threw up a jump ball to Jefferson, and later in the press conference said, that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. And we're like, no, yes, it was. Throw it to JJ. He catches the ball. They get a 2-point conversion. And there was like 2 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. The Packers get the ball back down 7. One play, 75-yard touchdown to Valdez-Scantling, tie game. And I said, you know what? That's not the worst thing in the world, because now we've got the offense back on the field and we just need one field goal drive and never let the Packers touch the ball again. Ultimately, that's what happened. I would rather at times, I'm not saying you want your defense to just be giving up 75-yard bombs left and right, but I'd rather you get a 75-yard bomb, one play drive and get your offense back on the field than have your defense be out there for 5 minutes and you end up giving up a touchdown anyway. So, and where I also think that's going to be better for an overall roster construction standpoint is this offense is now going to not be Dalvin Cook bell cow. It's going to be the running back by committee. We've talked about this over the summer as well. Let's have some more consistent drives on offense. Let's have some fewer 3-and-outs. So I like that combination of what we hope the offense can be and what we think the defense can be, that even though they may give up a bunch of yards, they still, as you said, may get more turnovers, may get more sacks, may get more stops on third down. And then you give the offense back on the field and they go on a sustained 5-7 minute drive as opposed to 3-and-outs there. So what do you think, Dave?
I mean, I agree with all that.
Cut that up. Yeah, cut that and clip it. Yep.
Clip it.
Yes, we do need more durable players, particularly on defense. I will agree with you on that one, Change.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the last 3 years, we've sustained season-ending injuries to key players.
Yeah.
Or in the last year, mainly caused us really bad depth problems. But you got to say Darisaw and O'Neal were key losses on the offense.
Yeah.
Not having them both at the same time in the season would mean a lot, even though, Oliudo played really well. Darisaw is key, obviously. But, yeah, just think I'd knock on fake wood here. Justin Jefferson's been healthy. Kirk Cousins has been healthy. Dalvin Cook was healthy last year. Receiver, Thielen banged up the past couple of years, but so we didn't have a lot of depth at receiver, but I think that's turned around. Again, I don't like the fact that Jordan Addison missing time.
Yes, I agree.
Now I'm like, oh shit, not again. And then I'm like, I'm just waiting for someone to say he got a twinge, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yes, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
But having all the concussions and hammy pulls and shit on defense, that killed us last year, and it kept. Beginning of the year, we weren't playing anybody on defense. We're playing 13 players. I was watching games, and we subbed in like 2 guys.
Yeah,
like everybody else played the entire game. Like Hicks played every down, and he shouldn't have been playing every down.
No, should not have been. But, what's up, Sarah? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you.
Hey, Sarah, I was telling people I saw your boyfriend's roommate from college, Jimmy Garoppolo.
There you go.
I told the guy, says, I got this listener. She didn't care who we drafted as long as he was hot. So.
Hey, Gary, good to see you. What time do we start? We start 6:30 Central Times on Tuesdays. Usually we have guests, but it's the slowest time of the year. Sometimes our guests.
I didn't even try.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where
we
need to save our guests for the regular season. So sometimes we've had former Vikings on. We've had the spin doctor Chuck Foreman. We've had Paul Krause. We've also had the legendary Greg Coleman, former Viking punter and sideline reporter. And sometimes we have fellow content creators on here. But this week, just us. We gotta let everybody rest their vocal cords. We're coming up to the prime time here, so we play defense. Good point, Sarah. Good point.
I can't decide which was a worse season on defense. I would have to say last year. I have to say last year because
it's compared to what, by the way, when you say the worst ever.
The last 2 years. Which 2 years were worse? 21 or 22? And I wanted to say 21 because of how historically bad they were in the end of halves and end of games. Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, we gave up a record 10 400-yard games. And I'm like, I don't know. Well, I got to say that's worse.
I'll say this. It's the old phrase, context matters.
Well, I lean it towards the coaching on the 21 side. Yeah. Having bad time management.
Coaching was bad last year too on the defense. What's up, Dave?
Well, it's specifically time management though, right?
Oh, okay.
That's why I was leaning towards that. So it's almost like we put the defense in bad situations.
Yeah. We've done that on time once in a while, Dolar. We've done 3-man with rap. That gets a little crazy. That's got to be a regular season one. But I guess there were parts of last year's defense that were worse because, like you said, we just gave up yards all over the place all throughout the game. The previous year,
I got Rap here in spirit though.
Yes.
I got his hat now.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Mine's upstairs. Should have ordered.
I can't even reach it. There it
is.
It's
all right. But the previous defense would just give up points and yards in the most inopportune times. And part of the reason I would probably say that was worse is because occasionally last year, our defense did get turnovers and did get stops on occasion. What's up, Norpheus? You have a great night. Thanks for joining
Have a
us.
good
We
night,
appreciate you,
Norpheus.
man. I would probably say, I mean, again, you're talking about, a 50-foot pile of crap and another 50-foot pile of crap here. But last year's defense had its moments. Give me a moment in the 2021 season where our defense, where you could say, okay, defense did something. I mean, say what you want. That game against Chicago, they got that turnover right at the end. The game against the Colts, they pretty much shut them out the entire second half. Again, it was a bad Colts team, but it is what it is. There were times where they made some key plays here and there. The game against Miami, they got that turnover right before Dalvin Cook had that long run. So give me some examples from 2020. I mean, again, I think they're both garbage. And it's really, like I said, arguing between two different 50-foot piles of crap. But I'll slightly say last year, but not by much. It's not a hill to die on. No pun intended.
So what do you think of this?
That's true, too. That's a good point. Go ahead, read that. Yeah.
Consider 90% of the defensive players fit a 4-3, not a 3-4. Last year wasn't shocking. This year's defense is going to be asked because we still don't have the players for it. So I do, more than anything, I think this one's more of a hybrid, and he's going to put people in situations like, I don't think he's going to, I'm crossing my fingers, but I don't think he's going to have Danielle Hunter being a stand-up outside linebacker. I think he's going to, have him be, that fourth guy with his hand down, but still make it look like a 4-3.
Right.
Or a 3-4. I don't know.
Mateo's got a good point.
You wonder why Danielle Hunter's hand was down if he was a outside linebacker, right? So no, they put him they were smart enough that they realized we need to have his hand on the ground going against the right tackle.
No, I like Mateo's point where it was a bad scheme fit, but where I agree with you, Dave, and why I'm a little bit more optimistic about this defense is Donachelle went into it trying to jam a square peg into a round hole and never adjusted, even when it was painfully obvious what he was doing was not workable and not sustainable. I think Flores, and as you said, Dave, it's going to be more of a hybrid thing where at least Flores has the clout and the reputation to say, you know what, I might not have exactly what I'm looking for, but I'm going to make the most out of it. I think, again, we're projecting and we're hoping because, it's the season of hope. The season hasn't started yet. I think Flores will do at least a better job of not just continually doing the same crap that doesn't work and adjusting. And at the end of it, I hear what you're saying, though, Mateo, that, it doesn't look like there's much difference because we're still trying to do a core 3-4 with 4-3 personnel. That there's some truth to that. But I at least I'm going to give Flores the benefit of the doubt to say I think he's at least going to try to not just continually force that square peg into a round hole.
This was really confusing me because everybody was saying hi, Dave, but Davey Chains was saying hi, Dave.
Yeah, they're saying,
and then everybody else was saying hey, Dave. And I'm like, are they saying hi to me or hi to Davey Chains?
No, they're saying hi to Luft.
Oh,
his name is Dave.
Okay.
Earlier when I said Justin has really
me
cool
off,
names,
guys. I'm like,
there's like 3 Daves in here.
You're like, you've been on the show for the whole day, and you're saying, "Hey, Dave."
No, they're saying hi.
There's got to be a cap on Daves on this channel. There's got to be a cap on them.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, moving on. There was a comment in me. He didn't commit to 3-4. He says, well, that's a good point. Sarah's point. He said didn't commit to 3-4. He says it depends on who we're playing, and that's the point. Thank you, Sarah, for reminding me.
100%. I fell in love with them right when he said it. Who we playing?
Yeah, exactly. But to Love's point, good players can play both systems, and good coaches can coach both systems. It's it's like the Bill Belichick thing. The Vikings had the number 1 ranked defense for how many years running? So I'm not even going to run the ball. I'm going to pass 60 times and run 5. That's not what he does, but he adjusted to who his opponents who his opponents were. So
you also look at like who was Miami's head coach back in the day?
Don Shula.
Don Shula. Running team,
yeah,
and then Dan Marino.
Yeah. Let's think about that. But hey, at least I didn't have to guess 5 different Miami coaches like I did the 49ers quarterbacks earlier.
Yeah,
but
Garoppolo. I mean, I forget. I'm terrible with names, so
it's all right. It's all right.
I don't know why I keep forgetting his name.
No, that's a good point,
Harrison
Mateo.
Phillips is the best D lineman. That's the issue because Phillips is just a guy, a nice guy, but just a guy. I agree.
We wholeheartely agree with that.
He's a starter in this league, but he's just an average workman. He's above average. Above average workman, smart player.
He's Brian Robeson for D tackles, not for DN. He's Brian Robeson. Brian Robeson, when he was the third rusher behind Jared Allen and what's that guy who ended up becoming the boxer? Ray Edwards in 09. And then when he was the third guy behind Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin in 17, that's his role. When you're asking him to be a down in and down out pass rusher, that wasn't him. I think Harrison Phillips is kind of the same thing. It's like if he's your third guy or even your second guy. But I agree. No, we still have issues on the D line, particularly with the defensive tackles, which is why I said if you're going to commit to winning in 2023, I know it's a shot in the dark, but I'm still going to throw out that Quinn Williams idea. I'm still throwing it out there. He hasn't signed yet. Of course, neither is TJ Hawkinson, but you get my point.
Gary, I'm on the record saying they're top 10 in scoring, but like 18, 20 in yards given up.
I'm on record saying that for Flores to move the 31st ranked defense in yardage to around 20 would be a successful upgrade. Asking for much more than that is probably pie in the sky. Now, as far as scoring, I can see 15. I can see where you're going there. I don't know about top 10. I think top 10 is optimistic. What's up, Eli? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. But I think the point about Flores and this defense, regardless of whether Danielle Hunter is here or not, this defense is going to be respectable, number one. Number two, it's going to be watchable. Okay, last year's defense was unwatchable until crunch time when they would get some ridiculous turnover out of nowhere, or when they would get the momentum in a game like the Colts, for example. This defense just was stick a fork in your eyeballs, gouge out your eyeballs, bad to watch. This defense will be exciting. This defense is going to make plays and it's going to give up plays, but it isn't going to be in that middle where you're just getting carved up left and right. So as far as the defense goes this year, and again, I'll say that with or without Danielle Hunter, they're going to at least be watchable.
Thanks, Eli.
What's up, Eli?
We're going to go for cover none or cover some defense this year. Or to cover some defense this year.
Yeah, the old phrase, hey, cover zero. Or cover zero blitz. Zero blitz.
I think that was our defense, cover zero. Even though it looked like a 2-deep zone the whole time, it was cover zero.
It was cover zero.
Cover zero players.
Not a zero blitz.
I think the worst year was when we tanked for Andrew Luck and we didn't get him, which made me mad because I don't remember tanking.
They didn't try to tank, Doler. They were just that bad.
I don't think we tried to tank.
No. If they tried to tank, they wouldn't have been playing Adrian Peterson in that Washington game. The game he blew his knee out. If they were tanking, they would have said, "No, you're sitting out this game." Cover some, yes. What do you think we get in sacks as a team? Well, that's a good question, Gary. Again, it depends on Danielle Hunter. If Danielle Hunter's here, I think we'll be okay. But Flores isn't the kind of guy that just tries to get pressure with 4 guys. He's the kind of guy that gets pressures from exotic blitzes and not knowing where you're coming from. Not necessarily the Mike Zimmer double A gap blitz and as to when I'm going to blitz those 2 guys and when I'm not. But, he likes to corner blitz. He likes to outside linebacker blitz. And I think that even with Danielle Hunter on this team, as far as the pressure on the quarterback and the sacks, it's going to be a group effort. It's going to be hey, we might not have 2 guys that have double-digit sacks and a couple of other guys that have 5 sacks. I think you're going to see a lot of guys in the 7 to 9 range. You might have 1 or 2 get 10, but I think it's going to be more a group effort to bring pressure on the quarterback. I don't think it's going to be the studs like back in 17 when you had a Linville Joseph clogging up the middle and you had Everson and Danielle coming off the edge and occasionally Anthony Barr. I think it's going to be more a group effort. I think you're going to see more corner blitzes this year. I really do. I mean, did we corner blitz at all last year? Because I don't remember many.
When we did, I don't know if it was a corner, but it was safety maybe.
Yeah.
And he did the Leonardo DiCaprio thing. The quarterback did, like he's coming.
Yeah.
Because he knew he was coming. But
Nobody
I didn't get it. I put in the community section any questions. Nobody put a question.
Yeah, we got 15 minutes left here, ladies and gentlemen.
86% of the community, only 29 votes. The other one had like 156 votes. Says Cousins 86%, Goff 7%, Fields 3%, Love 3%. So I guess two people voted for Fields and Love, and
it should be about
83 for Goff.
It should be 83% Cousins and 17% Goff. That's what it should be. But I like that one though, Davey Change. Nobody bothered covering the middle. That is factually correct. He acted like the middle of the field was quicksand. Yep.
Yeah, that middle of the field, that was kind of open.
It was so bad. Oh, don't get me started on DJ Wanham, Mateo. I'm just gonna say it like this. DJ Wanham is the guy that shows up at the last minute and gets credit for putting out the fire. Okay. It's like you got a 4-alarm fire in a building and you got a dozen firefighters, containing the fire. And then one guy shows up at the end and just douses the fire at the end. Hey, I put the fire out. Listen, no disrespect to DJ Wanham. Again, he's a solid NFL player, but there would be times where he would get sacks in bunches. And it was one of those, everybody else flushed the quarterback right to him, or the quarterback was stepping up right into him. DJ Wanham he's the definition of a jag. He's just a guy. I like Patrick Jones. I think that's an actual defensive end, but DJ Wanham, he's just kind of a guy. And you ain't lying about that wide receiver, but yes, thank you, Dave. DJ Wanham is the sack cleanup monster. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's true. Any questions?
Ask a question to you. Who's the player on defense that you feel like is gonna, outside of Asamoah, who's the player that you think is gonna step up this year and stand out?
Well, it's hard to say step up for a guy, but being that he had an off season last year, I mean, I'm looking for I'll say it like this. My number one resurgence guy is obviously Harrison Smith. I think Harrison Smith is going to look more like he did under Zimmer than last year, but I don't think that was the essence of your question.
Not the essence, but yeah. I agree. I think he's going to have a better year than last year.
I'm really excited for Byron Murphy. I'll say that. I remember jumping in when
she mean Blacklock?
Yeah, I think she meant Blacklock. Yes.
Or Blackman. Oh, the rookie.
No, Mekhi Blackman.
Yeah, Mekhi Black. Yeah.
See, here's my problem. Here's my problem with the secondary. We talked a little bit about it. There's just so many unknowns.
I like that, Sarah.
There's so many unknowns. I mean, if you're expecting a rookie cornerback to be that guy, now, yeah, okay, Sauce Gardner did, but Sauce Gardner was a top 10 pick.
I said he was going to win the starting job at some point.
Yeah. And I'm going to say Byron Murphy Jr. because, Harrison Smith is too obvious. I don't like anybody particularly on the defensive line. Like I said, I mentioned Patrick Jones, who I think has potential, but that's the problem with this defense. It's all kinds of question marks. It's question mark. What's up, Rap? You must have rabbit ears. I just said your name, and there you are. There you go. What's up, brother? We had a request earlier for you to come on, so we do a 3-man show. Yeah, I was going to say, get that hat out. Get the hat out. Mine's upstairs or in my car somewhere. I forget where I put it. But in all seriousness, thanks for joining us, Rap. We appreciate you.
That's the tiny hat on my head now.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I gotta adjust.
I was gonna say you can adjust the hat,
Yeah,
but anyway,
it's a little small, but here we go.
That's part of the reason why I'm a little skeptical to go too high on these defensive rankings. Again, yes, you got injury issues with Booth Jr. and Seen and Evans. Yeah, if all of those guys kick their injury bugs, okay, we could be in business. I like Evans a lot. I honestly do. It's unfortunate that he had 3 concussions in a 6-week period, but unfortunately, that's the reality.
And I guess he had a lot in college.
That in college, too.
On our show last year, someone said he had 3 the year before in college.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. As far as Andrew Booth Jr. goes, I'm going to say it like this. My expectations of Booth Jr. are, I don't have any expectations, and whatever I get out of him is gravy. I can't have expectations for a guy that has been this injury riddled. And I'm not saying that to downplay him, but I'm just saying you can't logically go into the saying, okay, this is the year that Booth Jr. is going to break out. We said that about Irv Smith Jr. for 3 years and it never happened, folks. But if you can get some of your secondary players to kick their injury bugs, then yeah, we're in business at that point. But that's a lot of ifs. Like we talked about Asamoah. What else do we got at the linebacking core besides Asamoah and the idea of Ivan Pace Jr.?
We got the guy we got from the Rams. And he was a starter one time, got 90 tackles in the season.
Okay.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah, exactly.
We talked about last week, but he ran like a sub 4.40 in the combine. Mm-hmm. He's a vet. He's 30, but
I'm with you. Sarah's like,
he was a good backup.
Yeah. No, I agree with that last point that Gary had. That the secondary does scare me. I mean, like I said, you've got Harrison Smith. You've got, you signed a guy in Byron Murphy, but everything else you got is a whole lot of questions. What's up, Kyle? Good to see you. Thanks for joining me, my brother.
Irv is going to break out in Cincy.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, Kyle?
Just like he did in Minnesota.
Yeah, exactly. Kitty gonna go. There you go. All right, throw it out there. Well, dealer's choice to the people in the chat. Throw out one question, and Dave and I will give our honest opinions on it. Throw out a question. How do y'all feel about JG not having Kirk in his top 5? Yeah, we already talked about it, Rap. You'll have to go back and watch the beginning. It's a non-story. Of course he didn't. He shouldn't. It's not a story at all.
I made the point when he said Josh Allen and Kurt Cobain at number 5. Who do you think he was talking about when he said Kurt Cobain?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he was talking about the dead rock star?
Probably not. I'm just kidding. Troy Reader. Yeah, okay, I suppose. But again, that's a question. Troy
Reader. That's what I was saying, the Rams.
All right.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right, Kyle, you're going to have to explain to me. You'll take Fields so we can suck enough to get a top QB next year. If I was gonna take Fields, it's because I would think that he was the guy. And I think if you put Fields in a system like with O'Connell or with a McVay or something other than the crap he's had, I think he does have more to offer than what he has shown. And that's what I said earlier. But that doesn't mean that the answer to the question is that you would take Fields right now. No, I'm sorry. What's up, Rich 1270p? How's it going? Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. I'm not worried about our defense. I'm worried about our offense stalling out like we've done under Zimbo. And yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier, but let's readdress that here now. That's the key to this season is, can this offense be more consistent? This offense, it wasn't just Dalvin Cook that had a lot of boomer bust. It wasn't just Justin Jefferson that had a lot of boomer bust. It was the whole dang offense, and it's been that way for years. Now, yes, part of it, you can say it was the antiquated Zimmer way of doing things. That's fine. But yes, O'Connell said it himself. I want to be in 2nd and 6 more than 2nd and 9 or 2nd and 11. And I think that the biggest thing that can turn this team around or take this team to another level isn't necessarily improvement on defense, which obviously, there's a lot to improve there. But I think offensively, if you can have longer sustained drives, that's only going to help the defense out. I am not giving a pass in any way to the defense last year, but I will say part of the reason why the defense oftentimes started out strong. It was kind of like the offense and the defense mirrored each other. First couple, 2-3 drives, they were really good. And then they had that lull in the middle of the game between the middle of the second quarter up until the fourth quarter. Defense was kind of the same way. And I think that if you can have your offense be on the field and have more sustained drives instead of having, okay, one drive, 75 yards, touchdown, and the next drive, 3 and out. Next drive, 4 plays, kick a field goal, 3 and out, 3 and out. If you can have a more sustained offense, that's going to help the defense.
I wanted to answer left here. Here's my prediction, is that it's going to come down to a stalemate before the season starts, and he doesn't want to make jack shit, and the Vikings don't want to sign him long-term. So they will come to an agreement for him to play 1 year, and they'll give him a pay raise for the season, and that's it. And he will no longer be a Viking after that. But you'll play the season. I think they're. I know. Probably Justin disagrees with me, but they feel like this is a window. They got their coach they needed to play defense. He's going to be gone after this year, most likely. They need to do something now. And getting rid of Danielle Hunter would not make that happen, right? So I think they'll come down to it. They'll stalemate, hey, play, here's some money, and he takes the money. You're throwing away $10, $15 million, right? if you don't play. So Najee Thompson gonna start. Let's go 36 Mafia.
Great interview by Rap last night with Najee. If you guys didn't see it, go check out his page after the show. Any chance we sign Marcus Peters? I mentioned him. I think it was probably about 6 weeks ago when I said I did an episode where I still want them to extend Danielle Hunter. And I said sign Dalton Reisner and maybe get a guy like Peters. I think if they were going to sign Peters, they would have done it already. I really do. But I could be wrong. But I don't know that they want to introduce Peters into a situation where they've already got so many cornerbacks that have injury issues. And, Peters, I think not last year, but the year before. Would he have an ACL or something? I don't know. 5 years ago, I would have loved Marcus Peters, but right now, I'm just kind of take it or leave it on. If they signed him, I'd be, all right, cool, another guy. Let's go. What's up, Scolger Soup? Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you.
Hey, the Bears got one. Scolger Soup. The Bears got one. A young mobile franchise QB. All right. We need to make some real serious moves next offseason. We're going to have to because we're going to lose so many players.
Yeah.
I mean, we are literally going to be losing half our team next year.
Yes.
So we're going to have a different Vikings team. It's going to be some big turnover the next 2 years.
Well, Gary, I was just going to say, we got $18 million in cap. Where do we spend it? We don't have to spend it. And that's something that, here's the thing. Your cap money rolls over if you don't spend it. So we don't need to let this $18 million burn a hole in our pockets. If there's a guy out there that legitimately can help this team, like Dalton Reisner, who I've been preaching for about 6 weeks. I just mentioned him a moment ago. I bring Dalton Reisner in and let him and Cleveland and Ingram, those three guys, the two best men, win. I absolutely would sign Dalton Reisner tomorrow. But you got to keep around $10 million for your rainy day fund for moves during the season if people get hurt. But at the end of the day, you know what? If we don't bring Kirk Cousins back, we got $28.5 million dead. So if we rolled over part of this $18 million, that's going to somewhat offset that. If you don't bring Danielle Hunter back, you got $11 million dead. So it's not one of those deals where you lose this money at the end if you don't use it. So I will say, unless there's a player, and name me one, because what did we say in this chat so far? We said Marcus Peters, and we said Dalton Reisner, and that's about it. There's not much out there right now. So no, don't just spend the money just to spend the money. And if you do get the Hawkinson extension or the Jefferson extension done and use some of this money to pay some of that new contract, so much the better. But no, it doesn't have to. It rolls, so you don't have to spend it. So,
is that true? If I didn't spend $40 million, I'd have an extra $40 million next year.
Yeah. I mean, there's minimums that you have to spend. So a team is never going to roll over that much because you have a minimum salary cap floor, just like you have a salary cap ceiling. But
so I said, can NFL teams roll over unused cap space? NFL teams are allowed to roll over any used cap space from one season to the next. Clubs must tell the league they plan to roll over cap space by 4 p.m. Eastern time on the day after the regular season finale. While the NFL has salary cap, it also has a salary floor, so teams cannot hold on to money in perpetuity.
Which is about what I said.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He doubted me, ladies and gentlemen. He had to go look it up. No, I'm just playing with you. No, there's limits to it, though. No, you can't just – if there's a $250 million salary cap, you can't just have one season where you only spend $100 million and roll $150 in the next one. There's limits to it, but 18 is well within that limit, to say the least.
Well, I want to hold on to money for someone who gets cut or to absorb a big contract that we're gonna make a trade for. I kind of want to do that, but I like the Reisner idea. Money needs to be spent wisely.
Okay,
unless
fine.
We lose Hunter, then we need DN.
I don't remember if we've talked about this though. I'm out on the idea of Yannick. Yeah, me too, Greg. Me too.
Dude, wouldn't that be nice? Of hey, here's $100,000. Yeah. Thank you.
Here's $100,000. I had to pay off all my debts minus my house. But what do you think of Yannick Ngakoue? I'm out on him. I've got too many nightmares from before. The guy plays for himself. He doesn't play team defense. He just plays to get sacks, and he doesn't care about playing in a scheme. But that name's been tossed around here, so let's bring him up real quick as we get ready to wrap.
I mean, if I don't have Danielle Hunter, I would want someone with pass rushing ability. And so, yeah, I don't think he would be that expensive. Otherwise, if he was that expensive, he'd be signed. People would be paying him the money.
What do you think on this? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. This one?
No, finish it up.
Lewis Cine needs to be able to beat out Cameron Bynum. Cine has way more talent potential than Bynum. I'm really not convinced of Bynum at all. Bynum's a good backup player. I don't think he's a starter for us. He could be for another team, but not for us.
No,
you do not have a top 15 defense when you got Bynum. Well, maybe you do. You'd have to have a hell of a good team.
Well, we had a top 10 defense when Anthony Harris was a starting safety, and it had nothing to do with Anthony Harris.
Great year.
He had one great year when he was surrounded by a great defense.
Yeah, he had a great year though, right?
I believe, Dave, they have to meet a minimum over 5 years. The average of rolling is 5, if I remember correctly. Again, I'll do some digging on it. My point is that you don't have to spend. It's not a use it or lose it type situation. But I'd rather have Yannick Ngakoue over Davenport. Yeah, I don't. Davenport better show us something. I'll agree with Mateo.
I'm liking Davenport. I am. I'm expecting good things from Davenport.
I hope so. And
Kwesi if healthy. That's another question. If healthy.
Again, that's what I've been saying. This whole defense, if healthy, But there was a comment earlier I was going to address a moment ago, and we went by it.
But much faster. Cine is much faster than Harrison Smith.
Oh, yes. No question. No disrespect to Harry the Hitman, but I'll never forget that interception in 2000 and I think it was 2014 or 2015 in St. Louis, where he intercepted the ball, and Everson Griffith got on his horse, and he outran Harrison Smith to the end zone, even though Harrison Smith was already running full stride, and Everson Griffith started after he noticed him, and he outran him to the end zone. So, no.
It's kind of weird. Harrison Smith looked like a stiff player, but he was so good. He's stiff. But I'm amazed by how well he plays. Concerning he just doesn't seem like very flexible.
Say what you want about Zimmer, but he knew how to use Harrison Smith. He knew how to get the best out of him. And hopefully Flores will be able to do the same thing. And like I said, I'm looking forward to this running back by committee, and I'm hoping that will allow us to have a more consistent offense. Yes, we, top 10 offense, I think top 9 scoring and all that's well and good. But if you score a touchdown in the first quarter and you score 24 points in the fourth quarter, that's part of the reason you're kind of in these close games where you have to have these come from behind victories. Let's have a more consistent offense. Let's have an offense that allows our defense to be off the field as much as possible, to get rested and that sort of thing. And yeah, I think this team has the opportunity. I'm not necessarily record wise, but has the opportunity to be a more cohesive team, both offensively and defensively together. I lost the comment that I was looking for, so it's just going to have to go to the ether, but I digress. Hey, Gary, you remember that? Yeah. I'm like, seriously? How the heck is a 270-pound Everson Griffin outrunning a safety in Harrison Smith on the way for a pick six? It was unbelievable. It was, who was that guy? Not Brent Musburger. The guy who called the NBA and the NFL for years and years and years. What's his name? Dick Stockton. Dick Stockton was calling that game. And he's just like, Harrison Smith scores. Everson Griffin ran the whole way back with it. I mean, he was more into talking about how Everson Griffin outran him than he was that Harrison Smith got a pick six. But I digress. No, it wasn't Nance. It was Dick Stockton. This was way back when. But anyway, I hope so, Gary. I really do. I was on with One Bar in Lubbock about a week and a half ago, and they were saying, who's your breakout player? And after everybody said Brian Asamoah, because that's what everybody said, I said, I want my breakout to be Kevin O'Connell. I want him to learn to not get so stubborn and not to say, no, I got to keep doing this. I got to keep doing this. That's where I want to see the biggest improvement on this team. I know the defense has got more room to improve than the offense, but the consistency offensively can lead to a little bit more of a better outcome here. So, with that said, any last questions or anything else you want to get off your chest here, Dave? Because I got to run and pick up my kiddo. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, by the way. About any last questions we want to get in before we head up out of here?
Doesn't look like it.
All righty.
Thanks, guys.
Keep your eyes out on all the channels. Purple and Gold for Days, Minnesota Sports Talk, Vikings First and Skull, Purple and Skull Media, Purple Pocket Podcast, GG Sports, Yogi on Purple Rain 247. When Yogi gets to Yogi's at 98, so when he gets to 100, he and I are going to do a show to give away that Justin Jefferson plaque. So if there are 2 people in here that do not subscribe to Purple Rain 24/7, go head up. What's up, Nick? Sorry, dude, we're heading out here, but go back and watch it from the beginning. But thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. Had a little shorty today. We got to get back into the rhythm here. So we're not going to do our 4 hours. Oh, Kyle says he'll be in Minnesota for the Kansas City game. All right. I wish Jim Nance and Tony Romo weren't calling that game because we don't seem to do very well when they call our games. By the way,
I think we're gonna play well in that game. I really do.
You're gonna like the video that I got coming out here where I have the multiple personalities. Absolutely, Gary. Yes, absolutely.
Of course.
I was on record. I was on Purple Dailies. Write that down a couple weeks ago, and I said the Packers will win 6 games or fewer this year. They're going to be terrible. They're going to absolutely be terrible.
You were the write that down guy?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
And you were on one bar in Lupagus?
Well, I was on with one bar for a grand total of 45 seconds because they had everybody. They sent out the link to everybody, and they had a bunch of people come back on. So no, okay. I didn't do a whole show with them. No, I did a 1-minute hit with them. No, I was not. That will be the day that I get a whole show with those guys. Yes, right. Absolutely.
Well, they don't do big shows.
No, they don't. Which is fine. There you go, Kyle. There you go. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Hit those like buttons on the way out if you didn't hit them on the way in, and then go to the other one. And if you don't,
make sure you show up tomorrow. Mike's Sports Vibes. We'll figure out what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but I'm sure it'll be good to have our guest on tomorrow. You'll enjoy the show. We'll figure something out.
Oh, and if you're in the Twin Cities area, Saturday night before Week 1, Skull Fest. We're going to have all the content creators there. We're nailing down the details at the locale, but we're going to do a live show and hang out and meet some people in there. I know Skull Mafia will be in the building because he's got tickets for Week 1. He's flying in from Rochester, New York. He'll be there that weekend. Rap will be there. SK, Dave, me, Yogi. So if you are in the Twin area, keep your eyes out. We'll make the final announcements once we nail it down.
And any single ladies out there, Casey's available. we're trying to hook him up.
On that lovely note, Casey, if you're still around, he got your shout out to the ladies for you here at the end. But thanks kindly, everybody, for joining us. Skull Vikings, let's win this game. To the next episode. Stay safe. We're just a couple of weeks away from training camp.
Let me answer this one quick. I go live twice a week, sometimes 3. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on Tuesdays, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. So check us out.
And oh, by the way, we'll also be contributing to Purple and Skull Media. So I will be live on that channel 6:30 Monday nights. Dave and Rap will be
sometime. I don't know. He says
supposedly 8 o'clock Central Time on Tuesday night. So
I'm holding my breath. No,
here's what I promise.
We went on 9. We went on 9 the last time. Maybe it'll be 8.
Yeah, know. I said 8. I said 8 Central. It was 9 Eastern, wasn't it?
8 Central. Yeah, you're right.
8 Central. Yeah. I'll tell you what we'll do, Gary, is this. On our community pages, once we get our schedules nailed down, we will put that up there for you. And,
well, for now in the off season, those are the 2 times I have live shows. And GG Sports has a live one on Monday, usually. I don't. Maybe they still do.
Yeah, I think they've gone every other week during the summer, but yeah, they usually.
Yeah, they haven't done it every week, I don't think. But yeah.
So, well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us. You have a great night. Skull Vikes.
Skull.